Yeah, you're good. That's good.
So the recording is running.
You're good.
6:30. It is 6:30?
Yeah.
Okay. Ask everybody to stand, pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to welcome everybody to the monthly regular meeting of the Board of Culver Zone Board of Appeals, and remind everybody that this is being recorded tonight. And do we have anybody online? But if you speak, it will be recorded, and please identify yourself when you do speak so that we know, and give your address, simply so we know who is speaking and what they're talking about. Start with roll call.
Mr. McManaway.
Present.
Mr. Osborne.
Present.
Mr. Adams.
Present.
Mr. Eubler, or J. Eubler is here as secretary, and then Mr. Melchin is not here, and our building commissioner, Mr. DeWitt, is joining us.
Thank you, Mr. Eubler. We do not have the minutes of the May 19th meeting yet, so they won't be involved on the next month's meeting. And have 3 petitions, but 2 of those have been pulled for this evening. So we only have 1 petition online or in line tonight, and that's 2022-011B. Petition filed by Circle City Property Group. And I've already forgotten your first name.
Michael.
I wrote it down, so Gilly.
Yep. Memory's not as bad as you thought it was.
Yeah. Is going to be presenting this tonight.
Yeah.
So,
Give me the
floor is
stand.
yours. Yes, please.
Okay. My name is Michael Gilly. Bought a house at 115 West Marmont Street, I think in September of last year. I'm from Indianapolis. I live on the south side of Indianapolis. Have a son that attended the academy for 5 years through the summer program. And we spent 5 years fighting, trying to find a place to stay when we would come up here for him. We ended up loving the town, but we got sick and tired of trying to find some place to stay, because every time it was different, and it was always a nightmare. And my son enrolled to go through the winter school program last year. So we decided that finally we needed to buy a house in Culver. That was a little bit more difficult than one might think. So there was a very limited amount of anything to buy. So we bought the house at 115 West Marmont Street. We liked the house. Wasn't thinking too much about using the house outside when we bought it. It was a brand new house. It was recently built. Nobody lived in it. Then once we bought the house and we started using the house, I realized that the kitchen is on the back of the house. The house is a walkout. The kitchen is basically at ground level. And if you want to grill anything, you can't, because unless we were to build a deck on the back side of the house with poles and so on and so forth, then that would probably be pretty cost prohibitive. So there's no outdoor patio seating area in the back of the house, and there's no place to grill. I thought, wow, this was really stupid. Didn't think about this when we bought the house. So I thought, oh, what are we going to do about this? So I kept thinking and thinking and thinking, and basically you've got a drawing in front of you, which shows multiple elevations of the house. The house is a walkout, but the kitchen is on the main ground level, main floor. And so I decided basically the simplest solution was to build a deck. If you were facing the front of the house, to the left side of the house, basically in the side yard, because there is no backyard from that elevation of the house. And thought this will be great. We'll put in we can either walk through the garage, or we could put a door in the side of the garage to get to the deck. And then I thought this will be great. And I can't remember exactly what the size is. I think it's 16 feet wide by maybe 20 feet long, something like that. 23 and a half. Yeah, 23 and a half feet long. So I thought this will work out perfect. We can have that outdoor seating area. We can set a grill up here. Then I found out that we could not build within 10 feet of the property line. So then my deck just became about 6 feet wide, and that's pretty unusable. I don't want to put a grill right up next to the side of the house, burn the house down. Probably not a good idea. So I called the building inspector. I said, I don't know what to do. He said, well, you're gonna have to file for a variance. And so that's what brings me here today. I want to build a deck on the side of the house. The property directly to the left of me isn't really residential anyway. It's a thrift store. They basically only use it on Saturdays. It's the only time I see people come in and out of it. And there's a huge side yard anyway. I took some pictures, which I can show you, of that I could pass around. That kind of shows the property directly next to me. And basically, I want to build the deck in this area up to about where this fence is right here. But there's all kinds of property between us and the thrift store. So I don't think what I want to do is to obtrude. I'm not the one that can make that decision. That's your guys' decision. So that's my case. And if you've got any questions, I'm happy to answer.
On the east side of the property,
Mm-hmm.
which is the lower level.
Mm-hmm.
Now I see there's a doorway that comes out down there. I thought I saw that someplace here.
Right here, yes. The kitchen is right here. The kitchen is basically under those windows. So my only other option is to take these windows out here, put in like French doors here, build a deck over, this on the back side of the house, but it would require a lot of construction.
What's the setback from the alley that they'd have to have?
25,
25.
25 rear, 25 front.
There's Marmont and Ohio.
So the house is 25 already.
Yeah, you got 25 west, east, and south.
Just remember, did this home have any variances on it when it was built?
No, but they worked very hard to make sure that it fit there. Because they've got their setbacks. There's not anything else.
Wasn't a lot of room to play with when it was built.
I've always wondered about the impervious percentage on that house, because it looks like it takes up almost the whole lot.
Yeah, it's about 4,000 square feet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You got 25-foot setback on 3 sides.
Right.
So that's pretty much not that green space, but right there, door line.
there's just no, there's no patio area to have like a fire pit or, a grill or, sit outside and eat or anything. Probably wouldn't look real good to put a grill in the front porch.
No,
Are you gonna have to build up? Are you gonna have to fill?
I would imagine the deck would obviously be level with about where the driveway is, so then you'd have to have railing on the deck. Obviously you don't want people falling off the deck, so you'd have to have railing, whatever code would be, railing on the deck.
30 inches, anything 30 inches or.
And so you wanna go all the way to line, your posts for the deck, would they be at the 0 point of the property line, and then your?
They don't
your
have
deck
to
would
be at the
fall out?
0 point. I mean, if you wanted them, 15 foot, instead of 16 foot, I'm fine with that. I just, there's about, according to the survey, there's about 16 feet between the side of the house and the property line. So I don't have to go right to the property line, but once I figured out that I only really had 6 feet to work with, I was like, that isn't even worth building. What good's a 6-foot deck gonna do me? I'm gonna put the grill up next to the house and then burn the house down. That's not a good idea. So, and you couldn't really put a table and chairs on a 6-foot wide deck. So, I mean, it's not worth doing. And, once I was looking at it, I was like, this is basically commercial that's next door to me. You ought to come by there on a Saturday morning at, 10 a.m. and it looks like a commercial establishment with people coming in and out. I mean, it doesn't really bother me, but I mean, nobody lives in it. So,
What's the neighbors say about this? Any comments from
uh,
them?
I've had nothing negative about it. I don't think it would be, I don't think it's really going to be noticeable or obtrusive in any way, shape, or fashion by doing it.
I did have somebody from the thrift shop talk to me about it today. And their concern was, yeah, there's a gap there, but what if they ever want to sell the property?
No, not
And that's, we also have to consider that. When you allow something to go to the property line, then resale of that property becomes a problem.
And I don't have, like I said, I don't have to go to, I don't have to go the full 16 feet. I mean, if you say, we'll let you go 14 or 15 feet, I just know that the 6 feet that I'm allowed isn't functional. So that doesn't really help me.
I think one of the other elements the board needs to understand and be aware of is the hardship issue. And it sounds, Michael, like, excuse me, you're sharing the hardship being like you want to be able to use a grill and
Right.
rest outside. That's not really a hardship that I think reaches a threshold of our typical deliberations. I can understand a hardship being more of you've already met 3 other corner setbacks or 25 foot. And so I think for me right now, I wouldn't be able to say yes on a hardship being to host outside, especially going to 0 and then the resale. And so I think I would be interested in entertaining, like, what is the right threshold? Is it 3 feet from the property line? Is it 4? So I think, my guess is we'll discuss this more, but that's what's on my mind in terms of
And
where
I'm
I'm
okay-
starting
and
this conversation.
Yeah, and I'm okay with that. I'm not here, that, it has to be 16 feet. If you say, hey, we'll approve it if you stay 3 feet off the property line, I'm okay with that. So I just want it to be usable. And I know building at 6 feet isn't really practical or usable. It's a waste of time and money.
And I see on this one, it says hot tub, you planning to put a hot
I,
tub on it.
I bought a hot tub for it and I've never put it in. I bought it last September and I never put it in because I didn't, once I figured this problem out, I was like, oh, I guess that can just sit here.
What, do you know the distance from your house, the east side of the house to the alley? Do we know, is that more than 25 feet? Is that?
East side of the house.
That's paved, isn't it? And the east side's paved?
Yes.
Yeah.
This doesn't show that side on the top. Like I said, I went down to look at it last week and couldn't figure out where the house was because I thought that house was on Ohio Street.
That is the weirdest thing in the world. That house should have an Ohio Street address, not a Marmont. They're gonna try to get food
Well, the
delivered
house
there.
that was there before had a Marmont Street.
One before that, front door was.
Face it, that's what I figured, because somebody told me it burnt down or got burnt down or something like that.
But the house across the street from it is 190.
You know,
Yeah,
what you got, yeah.
Which shouldn't be, should be even on one side.
Yeah.
115 should
It says
be-
it's distance to
So that's
the alley.
completely.
That's what you wanted.
And 26.6.
566.
like I said, when the building permit came in, they had to work hard to get that house to fit in there.
which is what we like to see, to stay in that thing. And I'm like Mr. Hubler, I don't think the deck is a hardship on that. I don't. Especially if it goes, you know, if we were talking 8 feet from the property line, but not even 3 feet. And it's just, that to me is way too close for the value of the property next door. And maybe they aren't going to be using it, but who knows how long it will be a thrift shop.
Well, I can tell you, we paid a fortune for this house, so
Oh, yeah.
I know.
it's worth a lot more money than the thrift shop is, I can tell you that.
Oh, yeah.
But the value of the property has nothing to do with our decision.
I understand that, I understand.
And it will never have anything to do with our decision.
Yeah, we can't say that.
Yeah, I understand it.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to make it more usable to have some sort of a outdoor seating area other than putting a grill on the front porch. Which isn't even practical because it's covered and it would be a smoky mess. I hate to do that. So,
I myself, and I don't like to negotiate. That's where I'm sitting at here. But where it's at on the property line, I have to agree with Mr. Hubler and Mr. Adams on this as far as, I know a little bit of history about the old house. Like I say, if it was on the east side, on the alley, I would feel like it's not imposing as much on anybody else's property as far as value. It's not as much. But I know this is not what we're discussing tonight.
so the house basically right now, you're saying, I think you said the house, the back of the house sits 26 feet off of the patio.
Yes,
But you can't build anything within 25 feet anyway,
Correct.
correct?
Correct.
So will you let me build a deck off the second story of the house, 10 or 15 feet off the back of the house?
Not without a variance.
And so it'd have to file another,
Yes.
file a different. So you want to give me an idea, if you don't like this one, would you consider that one? Is that more, do you like that idea
I
better?
have to consider anything that comes before the door, so, I'm just not for what's in front of me right now. I just feel like you're going to the property line of big property, even though it's a thrift shop. But it may not always be a thrift shop.
I understand that, and I respect that. And that's why I said, I don't think I have to go the full 16 feet. I mean, if I went, somewhere between 10 and 13 feet, it would probably be usable on the side of the house. If you don't want me to do that, okay, then if you want me to come back and apply for another variance to build a deck off the second story of the back of the house, I can do that as well. But if you're telling me that that's not going to work either, then I'm just wasting your time and my time. So,
So if you came 10 feet off of the house, you'd
On
be
the back.
on the back.
yeah,
On the back.
the alley side.
The east
yeah.
side.
East side.
And did you say it's 26 now?
I don't think we can sit here and tell you what we're going to vote on and approve. What you.
First of all,
We can't do that. You're the one that's going to have to come in front of us.
And one of our members tonight isn't here, and one of our members, this is his last meeting, because he's going to be on the school board.
Mhm.
So we're going to have 2 new members here, so we can't guarantee anything. I'm looking at a house with 4-car garage, basically, two car garages.
The one in the basement's really one.
Oh, that's only one?
Yeah.
It only has one door down there?
Yeah, correct.
Okay. And shows 2 cars parked outside. Is that-
Yeah, it's only a 1-car.
I assume the same thing. I should.
Yeah, it's only a 1-car garage.
Where's the door? Is it one big door?
It's just one overhead door in the basement. There's a,
You don't have.
That's for more equipment and stuff?
there's nothing in it. But here's the back door.
And what I want to get at,
That's the back elevation.
so why could that area?
Two elevations.
There's no way to get from the,
Well, you have a doorway, there's got to be something. Somebody,
There's no way to get from up here to down here.
So well, you'd have to build it that on level with.
I'd have to build some sort of a stairs or deck from the second floor of the house here to get to the backyard. I can't get to the backyard from inside the house, period. The backyard is, the back alley side of the house is completely unusable.
What this door for?
you can't get from the main floor to the bottom floor.
I can
Inside
get from, yes, from inside the house, yes, but not from the outside of the
But
house.
you got two doors on that side.
You got door to garage and doors.
Yes, yes, but I'm talking about from the outside of the house. You can't get from the outside of the house on the back of the house to the backyard. You have to go through the inside of the house downstairs. So if you're grilling something, you're gonna carry.
Yeah.
So
And,
is the kitchen then right here? What's, so if this is the alley, right? This is the alley. Right?
That's the garage. That's the upstairs garage.
On the other side.
That's the upstairs garage on the front side of the house. That is the kitchen right there. And then my dining room table is sitting right there.
This is not the alley side.
That is the alley
Yes,
side.
That is
That is
the
the
alley
alley
side.
side. That is the alley side. So the kitchen is right here. This is the garage on the second floor. There's a garage,
Okay,
there's a
I
one-car
got you.
garage below the two-car garage. There's a one-car garage below the two-car garage. The kitchen is right here. So there is a stairwell, obviously, inside the house but you'd have to walk basically to the front door of the house, go down the stairs. I mean, it just becomes,
But this is not, this wall is not flush with this wall. This is probably what, 5 feet?
3, 4, I'd say. 3, 4 feet, I'd say, basically sidewalk width.
I just feel there's a way to get a deck in someplace down there if you want a deck that bad. And
But it'd
not-
have to be on the
not-
second, it'd have to be on the second floor of the house. I'd have to build, pilings to. If I wanted to be able to exit the kitchen to walk outside, I'd have to take these windows.
You'd have to go through the garage. You'd have to go through this right here.
No, you
You
take those
go-
windows-
but you're saying you take a window out, put a door there.
you take those windows out, build a deck across the back of the house right here. And you take those windows out.
It wouldn't make any sense to build it over here.
But not.
No,
Right.
no, then,
Because
because
you're
the driveway's in your way there.
No, I'm talking about the elevator.
Oh,
I was talking about building it over here,
mm-hmm.
elevate that. And then you could either knock that, you could,
Right, the kitchen cabinets are right here, so
I was gonna say if that was too bad that window, because you could probably access, you could come
the
out.
kitchen sinks, the kitchen
Yeah,
sinks,
yeah.
right?
You'd have to go through the garage with, like you said, with a slide or something like that to be able to do that. And
Right.
is that something that you really want?
Right.
I-
I just didn't
I don't
think
know.
about any of it when I bought it. I mean, it was just,
Well, I think what you gotta realize is, when you come in here and obviously you didn't know, you tried, a 0 side yard setbacks, pretty much impossible to
okay,
get through this group. I mean,
okay.
it just doesn't happen. We just do not vote to
Okay,
approve
well,
that.
I didn't
but-
know, I didn't know
Yeah,
that, so.
I know.
Unless there was a.
Unless there was,
True hardship.
a true hardship,
Okay,
it's just, we just don't do it. you know,
Okay,
it's
well, I
just-
mean, that's
Yeah, I
fair-
know.
that's
You
fair
need-
enough.
Well, you need to know that,
Yeah.
I think that
that's fair enough.
my advice would be go back, rethink it, and then,
See what. you
see
come up
what,
with.
come back again, because, if I can tell you right now, if this goes to finding the facts, it's
Mhm.
in my opinion, it's not gonna pass.
Okay.
That's just my opinion.
Then I need to forget about the side yard and figure out if I want to go through it's gonna be a lot more costly to do it off the back of the house.
Right, understand that, but, if you want it that bad, then,
Right.
I think we would be more inclined to, work with you on that setback from the alley
Okay,
versus a side.
okay, well, that's fair. I just didn't know that to begin
But we
with.
can't sit here and tell you what we're gonna approve and not approve. That's the
Yeah,
whole thing.
I don't want to give the impression.
Yeah, we don't want to say, hey, we're gonna prove it if you come back with something. We're not saying that, but,
I understand.
that's more realistic.
Okay. I'll figure out whether that's, practical, how expensive. It would be.
Oh, absolutely.
And,
So would you like to withdraw this? Because if we vote on it, then he cannot apply for it for another year.
yes, I'd like to withdraw.
That was her best, that was her best option.
There you go. You live and you learn,
Yep.
and that's okay. Thank you so much. Appreciate your time.
Sure, you come in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you.
thank you.
Thanks.
The other two.
You all right? Yep.
The other two that we had on will be coming back,
Oh, for next month,
we think.
maybe.
The booths, which is the one on College Avenue.
You're
and
kidding
Death in the
me.
Family.
Yes.
But I was just asking,
Work on that, but I couldn't even find it.
There was a death in the family, that's why Jim pulled it. 'cause
Okay,
the
I
person
mean,
he
I
was
didn't, I thought it was
representing.
already,
It was a daughter or sister or something.
it's a sister-in-law, I think.
Yeah, it was close. And the one for FH Decks and Landscaping for the pond, that one is going to be,
Withdrawn. Well, first of all, they gave the wrong address.
well,
Yeah.
it's done. They hiring Jim Easterday, he's going to file a new.
But still, they're just, what they're asking for is just to build.
He doesn't know what they're, he doesn't know what they're asking for. But this just came up,
which it kind of do,
it came up in the last 2 days. It just came up to him in the last 2 days. Because he knows it's gonna be.
And I was telling Mr. DeWitt, I hope that the booths, and we probably should have said to them what we just said to Mr. Gilly, that what they presented last meeting is just not going to go. And if we vote on it, if they come back, they better come back with something different, because I don't see that passing.
But they have an attorney to advise them.
well, that makes a difference.
Well, Mr. Easterday, yeah, exactly.
So.
Yeah.
But
But we probably, I made a mistake in allowing the term table to be used.
right,
I should have said what was said to Mr. Gillett.
I should have brought it up.
Yeah.
Before being any further. than-
But-
You're not totally wrong, I think
Okay, items of old business.
I'm just kind of caught you up on the old business that it's
Okay,
going to be pushing forward. Do have new business just to make you aware of, because it might be coming before you. We have a violation on South Main Street, built on without a permit. So
Right here next to.
403.
Yeah, okay.
Built a lean-to onto.
They built a line shoot on the side of the house.
Oh, okay.
On that side.
3 feet off the property.
I got a question for you. when you're done.
403, did you say?
It's a permit.
403?
Yes, 403 South Main.
So anyway, sent a letter to them telling them there are 4 violations. They built it without a permit, wasn't inspected, structure less than 10 feet from the property line, violates a setback, and a variance was obtained to build it there. So,
Not even CFO, but you can permit.
so anyway, that's going out to them, just to make you aware of it. If they decide they want to contest it, then they will appear before.
The house on
Parsonage.
Davis and Obispo,
Oh, I'm sorry.
that's, you know where I'm talking about, where we approved putting a garage on the house, and then they had 2 other outbuildings, another garage, another outbuilding. Now, they haven't finished the house yet. They've got the siding all done. And I think they're putting stone, but they said the other garage or the other outbuilding, or one or both of them are gonna be gone. But they aren't. I was just wondering about that. That was
They can,
one of the things that said they were gonna do.
they can stay up as long as construction is going on. We allow that for the building. But after that, they have
Because that was probably close to a year ago.
Yeah.
So they approved it.
Yeah.
And we want to remind them.
okay. Yeah. Do you know who the contractor is on that?
I think who came in and talked a lot was the guy that owns it. I'm trying to think, was it Greg
I
Lee.
was gonna say, I think he's doing his own work.
I would think it's okay.
All right. I'll stop in there and
It might be Greg Lee, because I think I just passed and he was there the other day. If you see him, it might be.
Bob knows who this is.
Chuck, what about the house on West Shore next past Chadwick with the impervious surface? Big,
Oh, the
been
big
laying
man.
a lot of concrete up there and it doesn't look like there's, were you gonna check that out?
Yeah, he did. That
One
was
past
site
Chadwick,
visit.
they're done. The house is done.
Yesterday's doing it on him.
Stone wall.
Is it there? No, it's
inside
not
the
like-
stone wall.
Not sure which one you're talking
HD's doing all the rock work and stuff. They're doing lots of rock work right there. I guess from the lakeside, there's lots of rock work. But I have no,
It's
So
all
hard to tell.
dark, it's all dark, it's the dark house.
about. I thought yesterday, was it?
and I guess,
I think a contract from Rochester.
I guess the driveway is heated.
Right. They put that wall in right on that alley.
Yeah, they've been told they have to move the wall inside the next pole. They were out of the, into the right of way.
What's that just south of there where that garage is cut the upper level?
They haven't finished it,
They haven't finished it yet?
but they,
It's wrapped.
I was talking to them, not too long ago. And they said they want to site it the same as the house, but they can't get that same color. So now they're gonna have to site it and try to paint it the same. So they're having problems with that, but they're in the process of trying.
Yeah,
And they've done, they put new windows and stuff in.
yeah, is that what they did? I didn't know, I didn't recollect ever.
That was
I
an
mean,
apartment for a while and they didn't get rid of that.
They got rid, now that was my question, I was kind of leading to, so.
It still has a bedroom, but they were renting it out as an apartment for a while. But that's no longer that way.
That's what I was leading up to the question. But I hadn't seen anything on it prior.
Any other old business we didn't talk about? New business, anything coming that,
looks like we have one. So far, we have one case for next month.
besides the possible two that will come back?
Yes. Yeah, the one from Easterday. For the Hahns, that would be a brief, he'll file a new one on that. And he's hoping to make it for July. But not guaranteeing. And then also,
I'd like to back up a little bit. Too. I was curious about the out there on Sage and 20. Are they going anywhere with that yet? Or
I drove by there the other day and it looked like I didn't do anything yet.
I went closer very well to it. Down the road, it looked like there was some equipment down there. I started to be down there for those. Proper time. I'm just curious on that.
Mr. Adams, even though we had the petition be withdrawn, do we offer any public input if folks are here that have a question or comment? I don't know if we typically do out there.
Yeah, I'll open it up here and see if anybody has any comments or questions about what we did. I didn't get to that.
I came from the College Avenue thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Marilyn was ill earlier and I told her.
Oh, you told her to go
So-
home?
Yeah, she said she was gonna go home, buy a ice cream, so.
Wow.
You gonna stop by Marilyn's house? and have her
guess.
give you some ice cream, that's right.
You know, when Michael was presenting, I wonder if like we should have a number of printouts of just the for a variance and for a use, the standards that we use. So like after he left, like I think we should have handed him, these are the 4 standards that we're going to ask you about or make sure it passes the thresholds. And I'm not sure he's leaving with that. He heard hardship, but you know, he also heard an impact on home values and you know, adjacent home values, and that's one of the other standards, right? So I just thinking out loud of like how we can help the folks who are coming in better understand
We
the
can-
process.
We could always make a copy of our finding of facts that thing that we go through in the questions and say, here's the 3 questions we have to answer as board members.
We have extra copies.
Yeah.
I can also talk to Ty about putting that in the application process, because I think we could probably
Right.
Should
make
be.
it an attached document or instruction document of some sort. I don't think that would be a problem.
I think one application we had addressed those. Do you get not to them by any chance, Joe?
It all goes online now.
Yeah. Now it's all. Yeah, probably we should talk to Lori about that. She's the one that did that.
But I know those 4 things that we have on there, that's gonna be Bradley, 3 things. Like we used to. I mean, just like you talking about the hardship, you're talking about a threshold. You know,
Well, and
there's
what we-
nothing,
That's what 3 is, yeah.
yeah, but that threshold is still in the opinion of each member when they vote.
Right.
Even if everybody feels that that is not, I mean, even you put yes on it, it still looks no. So it doesn't always cover everything.
You're right.
I just think that the majority of petitioners that come in that don't have a lawyer typically don't understand the full process of this. And, you know, it's not on our application process to make sure it's all filled out, but I was just thinking about another way that we can help somebody like Michael, who clearly like has other questions about this, and so that's it.
I agree. I mean, anything, we've always had, I mean, the more information you put out there, it helps everybody. So, I mean, if you want to call it communication or whatever, I mean, for the process you're talking about, I agree 100%. Somebody comes in here a little more enlightened what goes on, they know more about what to expect as well.
How do you define an addition? Because I saw the plans for that College Avenue house, and to me, if it's only attached by a walkway, that's not an addition to. I mean, do you define
Technically it is, but
Technically, you're right,
seriously,
but that's something.
Oh, yeah.
that
even though they
probably
don't
needs to be
share a wall
redefined.
or that? Oh, wow.
That's-
Okay,
Yeah,
if it's connected to it,
in some fashion.
It's however the ordinance defines.
yeah, I mean, that might be the standard we gotta put in. We have a hard time with it.
Yeah.
I can give me a long tube of board, hook my shit out back, and the house and all be over.
Unless your shed's in the right of way.
That-
Unless your shed is in the right of way.
Yeah. Didn't the whole house would be,
Mr. Mason,
I attached it.
Back to the deck thing, there is a loophole that's been used in the past. If he makes the deck freestanding, where it's not attached to the house, supported all the way around, it's an accessory structure and it only has to be 10 feet from the property. That's been used in the past.
but even if it was attached or it still can't be within 10 feet, and that he wanted to go to the property line.
No, I'm talking about on the back now.
I'm talking about the part.
Well,
But
they-
you're still dealing with, he's
He
still
still have to
dealing
go to the
with,
25-foot line.
Huh?
He'd still have to observe the
not if it's an
25-foot.
accessory structure.
He put the accessory
If
structure.
it's not attached to the house, it's an accessory structure.
Freestanding,
Jump
how do you
over
get
the
to
gap.
it? You have to jump over to get to it.
Well, it only has to be inches away as long as it's self-supported and not attached to the house.
Except it's on the second floor.
This has happened before in my history.
It happened right in my backyard.
Thanks for reminding us of that. Liz.
Yeah.
We do appreciate it.
Okay, any other questions? Anything else, Mr. DeWitt? For you? No sense in taking this meeting any further, I don't think. Mr. Hubert, we will miss you.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that JD, you're gonna really love you, you know, it's been a real asset to this commission, or whatever, what are we? A board, our board, we're a board, so, you know.
Now you sound like you're bored.
I'm not bored.
This is not a boring board.
Well, I mean, thanks for your comments. You all have been kind, but tonight, but like the board works well because of how much you all support the new people that are coming in, giving us a lot of grace and generosity, and a question that I might have asked that led me into a bad territory or whatever it might be. Anyway, you all helped me learn, and I appreciate feeling the support from you all, because this is, you can be quite vulnerable up here, and if you don't feel like you have support everyone else and the encouragement, it can be pretty daunting and intimidating. I understand why potentially some of the younger folks in the community are hesitant to step on something like this, but you all make it quite easy. Not easy, but helpful, I guess. Thank you.
And I think you will be a wonderful addition to the school board.
Absolutely.
Because you're not afraid to ask questions. You aren't afraid to get in there with both feet and say, hey, I'm here to work. And that's appreciated for us board members.
Is there some kind of law says you can't be on both boards?
Apparently,
I never heard of that.
Both Karens, Karen Schuman and Karen Hahn said that as an elected official now, he can't sit on this board.
Oh,
'Cause that's an
that's right.
That's
That's
elected.
right. That's right. You're elected, right? I mean, you're taking the place. of-
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand that.
I mean, even when Bobby Reno had stepped.
No,
forward,
I didn't.
Yeah.
Slip my mind that that's elected. I thought he was appointed. to the
Right.
board.
Yeah, otherwise all those elected officials would just appoint each other.
For some reason, you can't be on the
I mean,
BZA if you're
This
elected.
has happened in the
someplace.
past. and
Yeah.
It's been a big loss every time.
Oh, yeah.
But the
Exactly.
great news is you have someone step onto a board, a young person step onto a board and is now going to serve on the school board. It's a win-win.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
definitely.
I agree.
It's like the
So in other words, you're saying we've mentored him?
Yeah, I would say.
Yes, you have.
I tell you what, I mean, I've watched you from the time you came in, and I know that I could see you were intimidated, not to the point that it bothered you or anything like that, but you were asking questions to try and feel us out at that time. And I mean, you moved forward so fast, and I mean, I was so impressed. I wished I had moved as fast as what you did.
I think he asked a lot of questions to figure out exactly what the job of this board is.
Yeah.
So are
And it
either of you two available or open?
She's a good secretary.
That's she's looking.
She's retired. She's got nothing to do.
Serious.
It really hit you hard when you leave, you know that.
If you're interested, let us know.
She'll
Give
consider
an
it.
address off of my office.
We're just.
This meeting is adjourned.
There you go.
Please put that.
And then in the report.
More
Yeah,
entertaining than
advertise,
TV,
I'll consider it.
I'm sorry?
more entertaining
What's
than
this?
TV.
Yeah.
You started with the
Uh,
EMS, didn't you?
That's-